dude, I could have retired today. That's what went through my mind. I'm like, oh, damn, I'm about to retire.
Put some respect on my name, brother. I'm a man just like you. My nuts is bigger than yours, brother. I'm not the one.
Thank you very much, Javon.
I'm not the one, bro.
That's the show.
Now, if you're a San Francisco 49ers fan, you most probably have seen this clip. And for those of you guys that haven't, don't worry, because we're gonna break down each and every detail as to why this happened. Because if we're being honest, I don't think either side in this situation came out a winner from this entire exchange. So before we get to the content, I just wanted to let you guys know we're making a nice little push on TikTok. So if you happen to have a TikTok, check me out at Microphone NFL. On top of that, if you want to further support the channel, make sure you check out our channel memberships program. I'm also thinking of making a Patreon with exclusive content. If you guys would prefer that, let me know in the comment section down below as well. And now that we got all that out of the way, break! Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? In order to truly understand why this exchange is going down, I need to give you the context of the situation. The individual on the right that is yelling at the reporter is none other than Javon Kinlaw, a defensive tackle for the San Francisco 49ers, who was drafted with the 14th overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. More specifically, Javon Kinlaw was brought in as a result of a trade that the Indianapolis Colts made with the San Francisco 49ers. Back then, the San Francisco 49ers didn't have the funds to pay their one-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle, or at least at that time a one-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle, DeForest Buckner. As a result, they decided to trade DeForest Buckner to the Indianapolis Colts for the 13th overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. Now, during that NFL Draft, they decided to trade down with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers so the Tampa Bay Buccaneers could select Tristan Wirfs, and ultimately the San Francisco 49ers, who were probably feeling good about themselves because recently they've been making great draft picks in terms of edge rushing and defensive tackle. They drafted DeForest Buckner, they drafted Eric Armstead, and they drafted Nick Bosa. And although they had some misses along the way, you could make the argument that the San Francisco 49ers at this point were feeling so good about their scheme that they felt like they could draft another defensive tackle in the middle of the NFL Draft, and he could potentially fill the role that DeForest Buckner left. It's very similar to what happened with the Green Bay Packers, Kansas City Chiefs, and the Philadelphia Eagles this past year, where their team traded their top wide receiver who wanted a significant sum of money, and then their teams all respectively decided to draft a wide receiver instead. Another example is obviously what happened with the Minnesota Vikings a few years ago when Stephon Diggs got traded to the Buffalo Bills and they drafted Justin Jefferson. So essentially, Javon Kinlaw was supposed to be the defensive tackle equivalent of, well, I don't want to say Justin Jefferson, but enough to plug the hole that DeForest Buckner was going to leave open. And for the most part, just putting it delicately, he hasn't been that player so far. I mean, bear in mind, this is a man that has been in the NFL for 2 years so far. He played in 14 games his rookie season. He had 1 interception, 4 passes defended, and 1.5 sacks with 33 combined tackles and 4 QB hits. And last year, he played for 4 games before ending his season prematurely due to injury. And that brings us to where we are currently. That's the individual that is currently going on a tirade against this reporter. Now, you might be wondering, why on earth is he going on this tirade against this reporter? Well, let me introduce to you who this reporter is. The man who is on the receiving end of this tirade is none other than a man by the name of Grant Cohn. Now, Grant Cohn is essentially a beat writer for the San Francisco 49ers who does some work for Sports Illustrated and is also a publisher of a website called All 49ers. Now, I wanted to preface this by saying that I don't necessarily have a horse in this race. I see where both sides are coming from, and it's my goal to give you guys both sides so you can see where both sides are coming from and why they feel the way they feel. And in this case, what started this heated exchange was the fact that Grant Cohn has historically been very critical of Javon Kinlaw. As a matter of fact, if you go to one of his most recent videos,
Javon, what are you upset about? Is it the fact that I said you have an 80-year-old knee? Is it the fact that I said that you're a terrible pass rusher and you're just a 2-down player? Is it the fact that I said the Niners shouldn't have drafted you? They should have taken Tristan Wirfs instead. Is it the fact that I said that you're unprofessional and immature? It escapes me which of the 100 negative things I've said about Javon Kinlaw the last couple of years moved him to approach me in such a way. But you know what? I applaud Javon Kinlaw for coming to speak to me directly.
Now, to be honest, in that very same video, in the very beginning, Grant Cohn tells a story of how Javon Kinlaw walked up to him and knocked his hat off of his head.
Kinlaw walks all the way across the field, walks behind me, and stands over my left shoulder, staring at me, behind me. So I turn and I say, "What's up, Mook Dog?" And he doesn't say anything. And I say, "Why are you looking at me like that, Javon?" And he said, "What are you gonna do about it, you bitch ass?" And then he said one more word that I can't say. And then I turned to face him and I said, "Oh, it's like that." And he said, "Yeah, it's like that." And then he knocked the hat off my head, just like that. I haven't had someone knock the hat off my head since I was in elementary school. My hat flew through the air and hit Josh Dubow of Associated Press in the head. He might have a concussion. I don't know. It was very upsetting.
I love how Grant Cohn said that the fact that his hat fell off of his head and hit Josh Dubow in his head resulted in a concussion. I mean, I don't know whether or not that's happened or not, but that sounds like such an exaggeration to me. It reminds me of those YouTuber memes that they were making back in the day. These have honestly been some of my favorite memes throughout my career. But I digress. You have to understand that the thing that's been eating away at Javon Kinlaw the most is the fact that he has a lot of critics coming after him for his injuries. And when you understand the situation that Kinlaw is in, he needs to fill in for DeForest Buckner, who has made a Pro Bowl. He's being flanked by the likes of Dee Ford, Nick Bosa, and Eric Armstead, which is a very good situation to be in. So the expectations for him are pretty high. I mean, take a look at this video he posted onto Instagram last week, where he literally said in quotation marks, "arthritis, degenerative knees, his knee won't hold up." You could tell that this is a man who is letting the criticism kind of eat away at him. So it's really healthy that he's using this as fuel to motivate himself to be the best version of himself, saying I'm bulletproof like 50 Cent. I don't know if any of you guys played that video game when you were younger, but it was very underrated. But this brings us to where we currently are. Grant Cohn has been criticizing Javon Kinlaw, but I guess he's been criticizing him in a very aggressive way, to the point where it's pretty much bashing him. I mean, calling someone a 2-down pass rusher with 80-year-old knees doesn't necessarily sound like criticism, it sounds like bashing. But at the same time, I can understand that it's Grant Cohn's job to analyze Javon Kinlaw for a living. But the thing is, Javon Kinlaw is probably watching Grant Cohn's content. In a sense, I do have empathy towards Grant Cohn because I've sat here and criticized football players all the time. I mean, most recently, I've called Baker Mayfield an average quarterback, and if he consumed my content and we crossed paths with each other, I wonder how he's going to treat me. Probably not in a very nice way. But it brings us to a point where Javon Kinlaw calls in on Grant Cohn's show, and to Javon's credit, he actually started this out very cordially.
Stop talking about people on here like people don't got families. Stop doing that shit, bro. What you get out of doing this? What satisfaction do you get out of this, man?
I mean, over here, that's a very simple answer. It's his job to analyze football players. The way he does it might not go over well with some players. I mean, you already have had multiple of Javon Kinlaw's teammates coming out and standing up for him based off of how Grant Cohn has analyzed the 49ers in the past.
Can I ask you a question?
Answer my question.
What satisfaction do I get out of analyzing the 49ers? A lot.
Man, you analyzing people like they not human, fam. Like, oh, this dude this dude that, this dude this dude that. Man, I understand that's your job, but like, you gotta go about this thing a different type of way, bro.
I mean, in fairness to Javon Kinlaw, I could see where he's coming from. He feels like the way that he's being criticized and analyzed isn't really necessarily the best way to go about it. He feels like he's being dehumanized, and he's actually asking quite cordially for Grant Cohn to go about the analysis in a much different way, which, to be honest, I could respect that ask, but at the same time, I don't know if it's necessary to have this conversation on the internet in front of what appears to be 1.4K people.
Hold on.
You gotta go about this a different type of way, bro.
Hold on. Can I ask you a question?
What's up?
What did I say about you that you object to?
All this you talking, all this back and forth, all this bickering, all this, I was in the training room today. Man, the training room is nowhere near the field.
So it seems like Javon Kinlaw is saying that the video that we showed you earlier, where Grant Cohn tells the story of Javon Kinlaw knocking his hat off of his head, was a little fabricated, possibly.
I looked at you, you looked at me, pulled your shades up, came walking over a little bit, not walking to me. You walked up a little bit just so I could make sure that it was you. I walked over, I approached you, put my chest on you, on your side. You turned towards me.
I just wanted to make a note here. I mean, if you look at Grant Cohn's reaction, like, I know this could be slightly over analyzing, but this is the look of an individual that is feeling like he's about to get a very good viral moment, which is good for his career because, to be honest, I've said this multiple times, it's a reporter's job to make these players slip up and give them a viral moment to drive in a bunch of clicks and publicity for said reporter. It stinks, but it's the truth. And I don't know, man, take a look at Grant Cohn's face throughout this entire interaction. You can see this is a man that is like really happy about the way this exchange is going down.
Stop making it seem like I came about you at a cowardly way. I came at you man to man, brother. Put some respect on my name, bro. You don't know me. You don't know where I'm from, bro. Put some respect on my name, brother. I'm a man just like you.
So up until this point, Javon Kinlaw has been very respectful. Maybe the fact that Grant Cohn is playing a little dumb with Javon is antagonizing Javon. But this is where it takes a left turn, at least in my opinion, because he went from making a very sensible request, which is, hey, stop dehumanizing me and try to go about it in a different way, where you're not saying that I have 80-year-old knees, where you're not saying that Tristan Wirfs should have been drafted instead of me, where you're not calling me a two-down defensive tackle, to, well, let me just show you guys.
My nuts is bigger than yours, brother.
I'm sorry, it's just like, it went from
please stop dehumanizing me to
my nuts is bigger than yours.
it goes even further than this. This is just the beginning.
Put some respect on my name.
All right, Javon.
Put some respect on my name, brother. Stop talking about me like I'm an animal or something, brother.
What did I say about you?
Don't worry about
Don't worry.
none of that. Don't worry about
know?
none of that. You already know.
Javon,
you only asked
you're
me
gonna
this
come on my
question 'cause
channel
You want to try to bring me
and tell me not-
hardcore facts, bro.
Javon, you're gonna
I'm
come
not
on my
about to
channel
bring
and
no
tell me what to
hardcore
say
facts, bro. You talking
and what not to
about
say.
everybody on
You
this
should have
team,
some.
bro.
You should have some
Nobody
quotes. What I say.
This is where the interaction goes from a request to just a gigantic shouting match between Grant Cohn and Javon Kinlaw. By the way, I'm going to post the unedited version onto my TikTok and onto my Instagram story if you guys want to go check it out. But it gets even worse, trust me.
You should have some.
bro.
You should have some
Nobody
quotes. What I
fucks
say
with
about
that,
you.
bro. Nobody fucks with that. Nobody fucks with you. You don't even understand that. Nobody fucks with you, brother. You need
What
to
does
go
that mean?
find a new job. Nobody fucks with you.
What does that mean?
What you mean? What it mean? Nobody fucks with you.
Are you sure?
Nobody fucks with you, fam. And the only reason I'm getting on here stooping to your level this low is because I feel like it got to be done. Somebody got to do it, and it's going to be me.
On one hand, I guess Javon Kinlaw is right if all of his teammates are agreeing with him. Bear in mind, Eric Armstead also said something in regards to this situation as well. But at the same time, I feel like this is a conversation that should have been had when they were on the football field or when Grant Cohn was visiting them during training camp. This isn't something that you should put on the internet at all, because now Javon Kinlaw is actually proving one of Grant Cohn's points correct, which is Grant Cohn called Javon Kinlaw immature, which it sucks because this started out with a very sensible request, but now it's a bad look for Javon Kinlaw.
Somebody got to press you, fam. You like to come on here and try to bully people on the internet. But when I press up on you in person, you shaking like a cow with voice lighter than my baby, fam. What's up
You
with
think I'm
that?
scared of you, Javon?
What's up with that, fam?
You think I'm scared of you, Javon?
Fam, I don't give a if you are or not. All I know is when I walked up on you, your body temperature was cold as ice.
You
Straight
check my
bitch.
body temperature.
Straight, your balls shriveled up. Bull dick.
Yeah, especially this part, not necessarily the greatest look for Javon Kinlaw. Because at this point, it goes from him asking Grant Cohn to do something for him and to respect him a little bit more, to saying that his balls are tiny and just berating him even more.
Do you think
Playing
you're
with me,
representing
bro.
the 49ers
Stop
well
playing
right
with
now?
me on this internet, bro.
Javon, do
Stop
you think the
playing with me on
49ers
the
are
internet
proud
like
of
you
what
know
you're
me,
saying right
bro.
now?
Stop playing with me like you know me, bro. Stop
I don't even
playing
know
with me
what
like
I
I'm
don't
one of
even
your
know why you're
friends,
mad,
bro.
Javon.
I'm not one of
You
your
still
friends,
haven't
bro.
explained
You
why
don't
you're mad.
know me. You don't know me, bro.
I don't.
Stop
I don't.
playing with me on this internet, bro.
I don't.
Stop
But you're
playing
making a
with me
big
like that,
mistake,
bro.
Javon.
Stop playing with me, bro. Stop
All right, man.
playing with my name,
Is
bro.
there anything
I
else
got
you wanna
kids
say?
to raise. I got kids to raise, bro.
All right, man.
At this point, I'd say that it gets kind of repetitive with Javon Kinlaw berating Grant Cohn and Grant Cohn trying to get a few words in, but Javon Kinlaw not letting him. So I'm going to post the rest on my social media channels, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok if you guys want to take a look at it. But ultimately, I think both of the individuals involved in this situation lost. I mean, a bunch of 49ers players are coming out and speaking out about Grant Cohn. So as a result, when you're a beat reporter covering a team and the players of said team don't like you, it's not necessarily the greatest situation. Players are much less likely to be cordial with you whenever you're interviewing them. And for Javon Kinlaw, this is ultimately just not a good look for him publicly. Bear in mind, Javon Kinlaw has had a situation like this arise before a year ago with Juju Smith-Schuster, but that's my take on the matter. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all this. Are you siding with Grant? Are you siding with Javon? Do you think both sides are losers in this situation, or do you think both sides are winners? I'd like to hear what you have to say. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.